Well guys, this is it. Nearly 8 years later, 21 books, a whole movie, Chainsawman has finally come to an end as of March 24th, 2026. With the final chapter, thank you Chainsawman. Now, there's a lot I want to talk about, and I feel like this goes without saying, but spoiler warning for literally everything. You have been warned. Now, I read pretty much the entirety of the series again this week when the finale was announced in preparation for this. But first, I want to go ahead and just read the chapter. And before anyone goes on the internet, talks about their shit, I'm going to speak my shit because I'm very passionate about this. I may be one of the few people, sorry I just dropped some shit, I may be one of the few people that thinks this is a great ending. It's not perfect by any means. There's a lot of shit that I still want to see and we're never going to see, but I definitely think it's a lot better than some people are saying. We open up back to the original shack that from chapter 1 that Denji and Pochita lived in. I'm going to assume that you guys know what happened in the last chapter, but if you don't, fuck it. Let me do a recap. Pochita's satisfied with his life and needs himself so that way Denji can keep on living. Which brings us to the chapter where he's back in the shack, having never met Pochita. It's interesting that he has the same dream here, but he wants to pet a dog. Meaning, he's never been with a dog. That's important. Remember that. He's never had a dog before. And the Yakuza kill him. Pochita's not there this time, so he bleeds out. But he's saved by none other than Power. Power returns. This is huge. This human smells like a dog. He has never been with a dog. This is important later. I promise. Just stay with me. She goes out to make a deal where she's gonna give him life in exchange. Denji and Pochita did at the beginning of the series. Though this time it's with Power and Denji. She's interrupted by none other than Naota. Now that Naoto has found these two, she recruits them both at the same time to come work for public safety. And it's funny that Power's immediate conclusion is that she's the control devil, which she is. So good job, Power. And he requests Power to give him a weapon of a chainsaw. Now he shouldn't know what this is. If he ate himself and made a chainsaw, it erased from existence. Now what's interesting is that this school is the beginning of part 2 as well with Asa. And this is probably one of my favorite panels where he drops the chainsaw to save the girl, who we know as Asa, thus preventing her from ever going through any of her part as well. Even though he's never been with a dog. Meaning, you know what, I'm just gonna come up with my theory. I don't think Pochita actually ate himself or ate himself fully. I think that there's still a part of him. I think there's still a part of him in Denji, because for this to work, for him to come back from blood, he has to be a hybrid or a fiend or a devil. And we're led to believe that he's none of these things. But in reality, I mean, you can see it right here. He's being healed with blood. So obviously he's still a hybrid because he's clearly not a devil. Also, he remembers what a chainsaw is. You're not there. The whole point of the chainsaw devil being eaten is that he's not supposed to remember what it is, thus supporting my theory that Pochita's still in it. And then when he gets called Chainsawman, look at that, clear as day. So unfortunately, we're probably never gonna get a continuation. I think this is the end. I mean, Viz themselves said it's the end, but still, I think there's still a piece of Pochita in Denji. But as you can see, Denji and Power go back to how they were in part 1 as their happy-go-lucky tag team duo, and they go and kill the devils. To which we get this panel of the two, I'll say the main character and the pseudo-main character. Denji having moved on, and Asa actually having a normal life. To which Power wants all this food, and they go off about their day. And that is the final panel of Chainsaw Man. Now, I personally would hope that this could mean they bump into Rez. This means they could bump into Riz at her cafe. I know that's probably not going to happen because the only reason she was in Japan in the first place was to kill Denji. But the ending has been, I don't know, pretty open-ended. So I'd like to, I'm coping, put the image on the screen, but I'd like to believe that that's what this leads to. And if it doesn't, who knows? We'll never know unless there's a part 3, which there probably won't be. Now, a lot of people are saying they don't like this part because of how open-ended it is. I've talked with my own friends about this. I like it. I think the open-endingness of the ending is actually perfect for what Chainsawman needed, because from the very beginning, his whole life has been orchestrated by someone higher than him, and everything's been stepped out, plan by plan, piece by piece, and that continues into part 2 as well, where the whole fight was premeditated from the beginning of getting both the War Devil and Chainsawman Devil powered up. Now with this, we don't know what's next. And not only do we not know what's next, it's not planned for him. He finally has the freedom to go live the life he wants. And I think that was Pochita's final gift to him, and that's what makes this ending, I think, a good ending. Now, I don't have the best media literacy, but I think that's what the message is trying to convey. A lot of people are upset with how open-ended it is, and quite frankly, I am too. There's a lot I would still like to know. I mean, I already made it clear. Reese, where the fuck is she? But I think this pretty much sums up. I think there's still a piece of Pochita in Denji, at the very least, to let him have access to the blood healing, and the fact that he smells like a dog, and the fact that he even remembers what a chainsaw is. But at the end of the day, it's not enough to make him Chainsawman. And I think that's the point. I think the open-endingness of the ending leads a possibility for part 3 if Fujimoto wants to make a part 3. I think a big message from this is how tiring the mantle of Chainsawman is for not only Denji but Pochita, which could also translate to how Fujimoto feels. This is a satisfying conclusion. I went into this thinking that I was going to hate it and that I was going to be unfulfilled because of how much the series means to me, but I think with the ending the way it is, it has satisfied the things that absolutely need to be satisfied while leaving room for a part 3. And I think that's exactly what we needed. Let me know in the comments what you think. I just wanted to talk about it. There's probably more educated people that dissect this, and they will dissect this, and there's going to be a lot in the next coming weeks. But from I want to say day one Chainsawman fan, probably year one. I got on the train early. I'll say that. So from a pseudo day one fan, I feel like this was a conclusive ending, and although it may not have been perfect, it was definitely satisfying. And it leaves room for part 3. Post-rant feeling, Denji saving Asa is a perfect final moment between them because the relationship was never going to work. Both of their lives were completely shattered and damaged by their devils. While this moment is short, it seems that their souls or bodies still remember the times they shared, even if their minds don't. Now, that's just a theory. So giving Denji one final moment to save Asa from becoming the War Devil also gives her that freedom to continue her life the way she wants to. Hopefully in a more positive way now that she isn't responsible for Bucky's death. One complaint I can see people having is how Asa is handled in the ending, though. For someone who's basically the second protagonist for half the series, she feels weirdly sidelined. Her fate is left pretty open-ended, especially compared to Denji, who, it's not much clearer, but he definitely got a clearer conclusion than she did. I think whether or not this is truly the end, we have to assume it is, and as it stands, I think it's a pretty fulfilling ending for the story. It's not perfect in any way, but from what we get, it's a conclusion I could live with. And if part 3 ends up coming around, I'll still end up wanting more. What this ending is trying to convey, in my opinion, is that for the first time, Denji is now unchained by people making decisions for him and planning his life away. With Pochita fulfilling the contract of seeing Denji's dreams, which I'm referring to the entire series, he makes the sacrificial play to return Denji to his old life before that contract was even made, in an attempt to give him freedom. Yes, some events still play out similarly, but Denji no longer has to live with the Chainsawman heart that so many people came after him for. He finally has the freedom to keep on dreaming and live his own life.